Hey everybody, this is my 125 gallon native tank, and I did a little bit of tank maintenance on it yesterday. I got in there and did a pretty big water change, and I worked on the algae, and I wiped the glass down, and I cleaned up a little bit here and there. I wound up disposing of a lot of the vegetation that was in there because I give up trying to plant it. It just keeps floating back to the surface. It's getting algae growing on it. It was just really looking rough. So I decided that anything that has not been able to withstand the onslaught of the crayfish that is in the tank is just not worth it to me. So the plants that have survived, the plants that are rooting in and getting started, they can stay, and in time I'm hoping they will actually spread out a little bit and become a little more prolific around the tank, and we'll have a nice lush planted tank here in the future at some point. But the thing that got me scratching my head was I kind of noticed that I have not seen my crayfish in several days. So I started looking around, and I don't know if it's still going to be visible or not, but if you can see that cave back there, that is the cave that the larger female that I used to have in this tank, the one clawed crayfish, excavated that cave when I first put them both in this tank. And it was not long before the one clawed crayfish sloughed and became a soft shell, at which point the smaller of the two crayfish ate it. Basically hunted it down and did so much damage to it before I could get to it that it wound up killing it. So that is the remaining crayfish in the tank. And earlier this morning, when I was looking for the crayfish, I looked in that cave, and right at the mouth of the cave, I could see the carapace of the crayfish. So either the crayfish is dead and its body has rotten away or been devoured by the fish to the point where all that was left was the carapace, or what I think is more likely is the reason I've not been seeing it is because it has sloughed, and as a soft shell they tend to hide because they're extremely vulnerable. Even these fish would be able to nip the legs off of a soft shell. They're just as soft as soft tissue. So that's probably what's going on, is that crayfish is laying low until its shell hardens up over a few day period. So we might be seeing a much, much larger and even a slightly different colored crayfish here over the next few days once the shell hardens up and comes out. If not, and the crayfish is indeed dead, then take heart, because the weather is warming up and it shouldn't be too much longer before I'm able to get out and catch some more crayfish and we can start getting the tank stocked up a little bit. If you look back here, this is the tilapia that I have in the tank, and look how big that thing is getting. I cannot believe how fast it's growing. So the Mayan cichlid is still considerably smaller than that, but is still growing very rapidly. Let's see if I can find it down here at the other end of the tank. There's the Mayan cichlid back there, and you can see it's still much, much smaller than what we were just looking at, but it's still growing pretty fast, and it's still a beautiful fish. It's a shame it's a invasive species and eventually is going to have to come out of this tank. I can't keep it in there. And then as far as that mud sunfish, or the mystery fish, goes, I'm assuming it's a mud sunfish. Now I'm also looking over here and I'm watching the fish swim down into that cave, and they seem awfully interested in something down there. That makes me wonder if maybe that crayfish isn't dead and they're down there devouring away at chunks of it and pieces of it. You never know, but that's certainly interesting behavior. You don't often see fish like burrowing down into caves like that and rooting around. So I will definitely be looking for that crayfish and keeping my eye out. In the meantime, make sure you're subscribed. I will be doing updates, even just little random stuff like this, and something catches my attention, I try to get a video of it. And today I was wondering about my crayfish, and I think she has sloughed, but we'll see. So make sure you're subscribed, that way you won't miss any of the updates I do on this or any of my other tanks. Again, this is my native tank, and thanks for watching. Hope to see you real soon on the next one.